5 days after Monday's UN General Assembly session in Gaza, the diplomatic reverberations are still unfolding. The UK, France and Canada have officially recognized a Palestinian state, a historic shift that brings this two-state solution more into focus. Yet on the ground, civilians continue to face bombardment, displacement and siege, while the United States has again vetoed a Security Council resolution calling for a ceasefire. So the question now remains, can diplomacy, even at the highest levels of the UN, keep pace with this humanitarian crisis, or is the window for peace already closing? New Time has the full story. It's been a historic step, which for many one that was long overdue. With overwhelming support, the UN General Assembly adopted the New York Declaration calling for the recognition of a Palestinian state and the realization of a two-state solution, the long-debated plan for Israel and Palestine to coexist. That means more than three-quarters of the world's governments, passing 150, now recognize Palestine as a state, with new countries have joined their number, including 3 G7 powers, the UK, France and Canada.
Je déclare que la France reconnaît aujourd'hui l'État de Palestine.
United Kingdom formally recognizes the State of Palestine.
Canada intends to recognize the State of Palestine.
Yet the support comes not only from Europe and Canada. Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has pronounced one of his most forceful speeches to date. He accused Israel of carrying out what he called a campaign of mass extermination, holding up photos of starving civilians and declaring Gaza not a battlefield but a place where people were being massacred.
Savaş yoktur. Gazze'de iki taraftan
A ceasefire in Gaza must be achieved immediately, attacks must cease, and the humanitarian aid must certainly be allowed to flow unhindered. We must ensure that the genocide crew is held accountable under international law. God willing, this will undoubtedly happen.
The New York Declaration lays out conditions for a two-state solution, starting with the release of Israeli captives and an immediate halt to the war in Gaza. Yet the seats of Israel at the special session in Gaza, as well as that of the US, was empty. At the Security Council, the result was as follows: 14 votes in favor, 1 vote against, 0 observations. It's blocked by 1. The United States stood against it, casting its 6th veto on Gaza in less than 2 years. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas, who was denied a visa by the White House to attend the UN, spoke via the teleconference.
We affirm that Gaza is an integral part of the state of Palestine and that we are ready to assume full responsibility for governance and security there.
Analysts call the declaration with its wave of new recognition for Palestine unprecedented, even if largely symbolic. The question remains, will it change the reality on the ground, as well as Washington's stance opposed? Israel has reacted with anger and defiance. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told the UN there will be no Palestinian state, regardless of international pressure. US officials echoing Israel, arguing the timing is wrong, saying that recognition jeopardizes the safety of captives and rewards Hamas. Still, with Western powers now joining the push, analysts add the global narrative is shifting, putting new pressure on Israel and its closest ally. However, in his nearly hour-long UN speech, President Trump barely addressed Gaza and again dismissed the idea of a two-state solution, rejecting accusation that his administration wasn't pressuring Israel to end its military offensive.
We have to stop the war in Gaza immediately. We have to stop it. We have to get it done. We have to negotiate. Immediately have to negotiate peace.
So Donald Trump doesn't appear likely to change his stance publicly, but in a private meeting with leaders of Arab and Muslim-majority nations, he struck a more optimistic tone on ending the war. Observers say it's familiar Trump pattern, publicly critical, but conciliation behind closed doors. While Arab leaders, as analysts explain, wanted to get Donald Trump's ear to sway his policy in Gaza, hoping he will pressure Prime Minister Netanyahu and help end the conflict.
Get the war over and get back to life in the Middle East.
Meanwhile, for Palestinians, international recognition offers hope, but without sanctions, an arms embargo, or real accountability, it risks staying only symbolic, and the challenge is turning global acknowledgement into real change on the ground.
May the recognition of the State of Palestine by multiple countries truly benefit all our people in the Gaza Strip and across Palestine. May it mark the beginning of the end of the war, allowing us to live as we once did, and may everything conclude with peace and tranquility.
In practical terms, UN recognition allows Palestinians to open embassies, engage in trade, and appeal to the International Criminal Court. But it doesn't end the war in Gaza, not halt Israel's occupation. On the ground, the reality is grim. Over 64,000 have been killed and more than 160,000 wounded in Gaza over the 2 years of conflict. Displacement, hunger, and destruction are relentless. Nearly 1,000 military checkpoints and roadblocks, with 27 new ones just in early September, according to the UN, make one question: is there a Palestinian state left to recognize? There is a legal framework under international law that's often used as a reference point. It sets 4 criteria for statehood: define territory, a permanent population, a government, and the ability to engage with other states. Many experts agree Palestine meets these standards, but several countries recognizing Palestine stress their decisions are political rather than legal. Some have added conditions. Canada and Australia link recognition to Palestinian elections next year and a ban on Hamas participation. Meanwhile, the UK has made its recognition of Palestine depend on what Israel does, saying it will go ahead with recognition unless
the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza, agree to a ceasefire, and commit to a long-term sustainable peace, reviving the prospect of a two-state solution.
Analysts warn that international recognition may fall short of true sovereignty, unlikely to challenge the illegal settlements that block Palestinian statehood. And this is why there is a lot of skepticism that this new wave of recognition of a Palestinian state will actually lead to any meaningful change. So the recognition, as experts say, probably won't end the conflict, but for Palestinians, it offers a symbolic acknowledgement of their struggle. Amid ongoing devastation, it is a flicker of hope, though for some, a bitter reminder that diplomacy alone cannot stop the erasure of their homeland. Malran Samigulina, New Time.